Suzuki went back to basics for the 2017 SV650, dropping all the bells and whistles of the Gladius that have been around for a couple years, and really producing a bike that people have wanted to see make its comeback. So the 645cc V-twin engine is a lot of fun. It's really smooth. The power and the response at the throttle is crisp, and delivery is snappy on the bottom end and linear up through the mid. When you get to the mid-range, you really find the fun part of this engine in this bike. You keep it around 5,000–6,000 RPM in just about any gear, and you've got plenty of roll-on power, plenty of passing power, and you find an engine with a lot of character in that range. This bike is perfect for zipping around town, commuting, doing some backroad stuff. It's absolutely in its element in those situations. I've even logged a couple hundred miles on interstate on this thing, and the engine has no problem with it. I mean, you could honestly keep it in 5th gear and hold steady at 65 and have plenty of power to spare. You get into 6th and you can barely feel the engine running underneath you. It's that smooth. The big demerit when you're traveling on the interstate with something like this is the fact that it's a naked, and you get that constant wind blast, and so it's not quite as comfortable over long hauls there. You'd want to upgrade with some sort of aftermarket windshield if you plan any sort of longer trips with this bike. And honestly, you might want to do that because it's pretty comfortable overall. I mean, the seat is nice if you get sat back in it. There is a little bit of a forward cant for a sporty position. That puts a little bit of pressure on your arms, but overall, this is a really comfortable, natural cockpit. The controls are really intuitive. You got an adjustable brake lever. The clutch is really light. It comes with Suzuki's low RPM assist, which raises idle speed for you on takeoff, making it just a little bit easier when you're getting the bike rolling first thing. Clutch engagement is smooth, the transmission is solid, you can click through the 6 gears, no problem. Finding neutral is not an issue at all. And I tell you, this thing handles like a dream. I mean, it's so light and so nimble, you barely have to put any input into the controls. You're able to kind of just glide around corners. The suspension is decent. It's stiff enough to hold steady if you're going to push the pace a little bit on the mountain roads. But it can be a little bit bumpy, a little bit jarring when you hit some imperfections on surface streets. The brakes on this are decent. You got dual discs at the front. They are a little bit soft, but they do get the job done, and you have ABS in case you get into a pinch. There was one instance where I just got a little bit too much front lever and kicked those pulsations in. It helped keep the bike upright, helped me avoid disaster, so I really appreciate that. So it's got a really nice instrument panel, all the basics, speedometer, fuel gauge, you get, the range remaining on a full tank, you get your gear position indicator, things like that. Simple, easy to see from the cockpit, you can see it in direct sunlight. It's a, nice, clean setup there. The package as a whole, I gotta say, I really enjoy this bike. It's a lot of fun. It's perfect for the type of riding that I typically do, which is riding back and forth from work, taking the long way home, spending the weekend in the mountains somewhere. It's not quite as adept at long-range touring, but gosh, you get a little windscreen and throw some saddlebags on there, and you could cover a couple hundred miles easy, no problem on the interstate or wherever you want to go. So the bike sounds good, it looks good, it's got great power delivery. I love the feel of that V-twin engine. The controls, the inputs, everything are really natural and accommodating. I think Suzuki have really done a good job with this bike, bringing it back to its roots and bringing it back to something that people are really going to enjoy.